SpongeBob Mistakes. Hi, SpongeBob fans! Are you ready for a new dose of animation mistakes from your favorite show? Well, fasten your seatbelts because here are some mistakes that you can find in SpongeBob SquarePants. Number 1. To square pants or not to square pants? The quote, "to be or not to be," is one of the most famous affirmations in human history, so famous that even SpongeBob's animators decided to name an episode after that. Let's take a look at some of the best moments of the episode. Well, this episode, it's all about SpongeBob changing his trademark square pants to newer, round ones, causing everyone in Bikini Bottom to not recognize him anymore. So sad for poor SpongeBob. But even if this episode presents us with a different outfit for Bob, we wanted to showcase some concrete scenes. Let's watch them together.
And I got the job!
Oh, boy.
My first day on the job, I am so excited! Woo-hoo!
Did you find something here? Well, it's hard, but you should take another look to see if you're able to see one error. This one is for SpongeBob's experts, but if you look closely at SpongeBob's hat, there's a brief frame in which the black ringish part from our protagonist's hat changes from blue to black. To be honest, this is really fitting with this episode's context because not only SpongeBob's pants are changing design in this episode, but we're not leaving this episode, at least not for now.
Get to work! I'm used to Squidward sleeping on the job, but I expect more from you, Mr. SquarePants.
I am not SpongeBob SquarePants, Mr. Crab.
Well, we're used to seeing Mr. Krabs in some strange situations, but have you seen something strange regarding him in this scene? Just watch it carefully and tell us if you were able to find something. In case you haven't, when Mr. Krabs tells SpongeBob that his pants look round instead of squared, there's a moment when the space between his eyes turns completely white. These two are really hard to find, but we wanted to make things hard for you on this episode. Number 2, Bummer Vacation. Who's ready for a big vacation? We know that SpongeBob is a real workhorse, but in this episode, Mr. Krabs forced him to take some vacation and rest a little bit. Maybe the focus of this episode was to get some rest for SpongeBob, but the animators even took some rest for themselves, because we found some cheesy scenes on this one.
You can't do that!
Huh?
We need to turn up the grill to exactly 298 degrees Fahrenheit.
Seems like Krusty Krab's kitchen isn't the same without SpongeBob, and this scene is a real representation of this. Actually, we hope that you've noticed something strange on this one because it's maybe hard to find, but we discovered an error located on the grills. When SpongeBob enters the kitchen, Patrick is cooking some Krabby Patties, but when SpongeBob goes to check what is happening with the grills, no patties are to be found. Well, for sure they miss SpongeBob at work. But let's keep looking at this episode.
Boy, you're on Krusty Krab property. Back it up. Further. Further. Further.
Is something missing here? This is one of the most recurrent errors that we can find in SpongeBob. But again, here, when Mr. Krabs tells SpongeBob to walk away from the Krusty Krab, we see a shot of SpongeBob outside his usual restaurant, and the chum bucket is missing again. Well, many people usually forget about how important plankton is to this series, but for sure, this is a low blow to Bikini Bottom's evil villain. We wanted to highlight one more error before leaving this episode. SpongeBob might be so obsessed with his job that he behaves like a dog when he sees those brilliant spatulas shining. But not only that, this behavior came with some animation errors itself. In this scene where both SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs are in the car looking at these spatulas, SpongeBob is so excited that even his corneas changed their color for a second. He for sure needed some vacation. Number 3, pet or pests. Finding a great partner for Gary hasn't ever been an easy task for SpongeBob. Much like in the episode A Friend for Gary, we found some instances in which SpongeBob has adopted some friends to spend time with Gary, but there hasn't been a single time where this has ended in a good way. Let's watch some cool scenes from the episode.
All right, Gary. Just so there isn't any more upset, I'm going to ask that you sleep on the guest newspaper tonight. And Mr. Wormsley is going to be sleeping in here with me. Now, Gary, there's no need for protest.
It's possible that you missed one little detail in this scene, but let's look at it again. Right after SpongeBob comes back to his house, he turns a light on in his guest room, but some moments after, we find SpongeBob talking to Gary about how disappointed he is with the situation with the worm. This leads SpongeBob to move Gary to the same guest room where he turned the light on, but now there's no light on it. Such a weird thing to find. Let's jump to another curious moment we found in this episode. Have you found something strange here? Well, usually any vehicle needs to be driven by someone, right? In this scene where SpongeBob tries to save all the worms from being run over by the truck, we find that the truck didn't have any driver on it. It was moving by itself. Even if this is weird, SpongeBob brought his heroic spirit to the scene and saved those little worms from a very painful accident. Number 4, sing a song for Patrick. Who doesn't like a good music episode? Well, Patrick might have many talents himself, but here he decides to be a great singer and submit a song to a famous label located at Bikini Bottom. But let's check some curious scenes.
It's working!
Patrick, don't sprain yourself.
Oh, what's going on?
Patrick might be using a lot of his mental capacity here, but we're here for a little detail that happens in the back of the room. If you were looking at the door while Patrick was thinking, there was no one to be seen there. But a couple moments after, the door is closed and SpongeBob is knocking that door. Let's dedicate a little moment to secondaries before we leave this episode.
Let's get him, boys! You know, it's not that bad.
Fred, the fish that is ahead of everyone, is the victim of some animation errors in this episode. In some scenes, he's wearing brown jeans, while in others, his jeans are blue. Maybe animators forgot about animating secondaries in a proper way. Number 5, 20,000 Patties Under the Sea. Do you imagine SpongeBob working in a traveling restaurant? Well, this episode might put SpongeBob in a strange situation, but not without its fair share of errors.
Are you sure you're not trying to say Roger?
Oh, wait, I got it!
Ringo.
Patrick, we have visual contact.
If you've seen this scene right at the start of the episode, you'll probably have seen SpongeBob glasses, right? Well, in the starting moments from the episode, the shape of SpongeBob's glasses changes from scene to scene. In some moments, they're circular, and in others, they're squared. Animators love to change SpongeBob's outfit, but we've found a very strange scene in this episode. What do you think about this?
Yes! SpongeBob, our hole's been breached! You know what that means?
No!
This is more a logical error than an animation error itself, but when SpongeBob and Patrick's submarine breaks, water starts to flood its insides, much to everyone's surprise. This is weird because if the submarine didn't have water inside, both SpongeBob and Patrick wouldn't be able to breathe. This is such a strange thing if you think about it. Well, there you have it. These are some funny animation errors that you can find in SpongeBob SquarePants. Please leave a like on the video and subscribe to our channel so we can provide you more interesting SpongeBob content. And until the next time, goodbye!